Dan, I want to play a game before we start.
What game?
So I saw it yesterday, right? And it's a bit of football trivia, and I think you'll be quite good at this, right? Can you name me? They had 8, but I managed 10 very easily. Can you name me 10 footballing siblings that have played in the top 5 leagues?
So there was two. Did Bradley Wright Phillips and Sean Wright Phillips play in the same league at the same time?
No, that doesn't have to be the same time. They just have to play in the top 5 leagues. So Bradley Wright Phillips played for Man City 04 to 06.
Is this to do with? Is this linked somehow to Harvey Barnes?
What the John Barnes mean? Yeah, I saw it on TikTok, and I
Okay,
thought,
so
you know what?
Bradley Wright Phillips and Sean Wright Phillips. I'm gonna put. Um,
Okay, I'll accept it. That's not one I got. So fair play.
uh,
There's one that's Chelsea related. You should be getting very quickly. Very quickly. Think about it.
Thorgan Hazard and Eden Hazard.
Yep.
Um, Thorgan Hazard and Eden Hazard. I'm trying to think. Think. Did Lukaku's brother? Did the two Lukaku's play in the top 5 league at the same time? Because I'm pretty sure Lukaku's brother got to a decent
Jordan
level.
Lukaku. Yeah, I think he played for Lazio, didn't he? He did. I'll give you that. Jordan Lukaku.
Um, it seems to be quite a Belgian thing, isn't it? Hazard, Lukaku. Um,
Do you want me to rattle? Shall I rattle off the ones I got? Because I feel like we can be
yeah,
sat here a while. It seemed like a good idea, and then it also makes awful radio because we sat in silence.
yeah.
Okay, so are you ready?
Ready.
We got Gary Neville and Phil Neville,
Oh, I should have
Colo
got
Torre,
them.
Yaya Torre,
Should have
Joel
got
and
that.
Jude Bellingham, Frank and Ronald de Boer, Brian and Michael Laudrup, Jordan and Andre Ayew, Jerome and Kevin Prince Boateng, um, Fabio Rafael da Silva, Trevor and Nathaniel Chalobah. Awful from you. Expected better.
Mm.
Rafinha and Thiago Alcantara, and Sven and Lars Bender.
Quite decent. Was there a reason for this? Was there like because sometimes these trivia things come up because of something that's happened, so that's why I referenced the Harvey Barnes thing.
It might have been. I mean, I'm not 100% certain, to be honest with you. I just saw it and I thought it was a good game. I've been playing it with a few people today, and it's been interesting. No one's got more than me, so just put them
Nathaniel
there.
Chalobah is still the owner of one of the best assists I've seen for a Chelsea goal. The Victor Moses goal in the 16-17 season where we battered Leicester 3-0.
It just unlocked a memory. It's like when he does like this. It was like a reverse pass, wasn't it? It was like a back heel.
In one motion, the ball gets fired into him, and in one motion he turns, if I remember rightly, and with his I think it was with his right foot, kind of just laid the ball in the path of
Yeah, he
Moses,
just
who then
flicks it
put
out,
it
doesn't
past
he?
Michael.
Yeah, that was a good goal. Oh, that was a great goal. I'll tell you what, though, it's not bad though. There's some good names in there. Yeah, there was no reason for it. It was just I thought, you know what, we'll open up the show a little bit differently. We obviously always ask how we are, but we know how we are. We speak to each other enough now to be like, "What's going
Mm.
on?" Yeah, it's good. And obviously everyone else is like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "Yeah, it's life, guys. It's
I've
not
I've
exciting for
realized
Dan and I."
I've realized why we're recording this on. I know why you've moved the recording forward to a Thursday
Why's that?
because Friday's a massive. Do you not know what's happening on Friday this week? Friday the 3rd of October. There are two massive things on Friday the 3rd of October.
I see you're reversing the trivia. I'm guessing one's wrestling related, knowing you.
No. There's no wrestling. There's no wrestling here.
Friday. I feel bad. What's happening? I had a
Uh,
shoot. That's why I moved
uh,
it.
so Friday the 3rd of October, um, the Louis' most anticipated album of 2025 drops. Uh,
Oh,
you know what I'm
you're,
referencing, or
you're referencing Taylor Swift, aren't you? Because you love
yeah,
Taylor Swift.
mm.
I saw another thing I saw when I was doom scrolling was a woman divorced a guy because he booed Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. My God, that guy's dodged a bullet. Can you imagine being married to that for God the rest of your
Mm.
life?
I couldn't, to be honest. I was parallel universe, to be honest. And don't worry, Louis, because she doesn't listen to this podcast, and she's kind of quite proud of the fact she doesn't listen to the podcast. So there's no way she's gonna hear that.
If she even drops us a 5-star review, like it's just like it doesn't
She
even do that. That's just
watches
really
she watches my YouTube videos just to hit like, and then she leaves. So she dives in for the like and then leaves.
no, I respect it. I respect
Mm,
it. It's a sign. It's a sign of a strong relationship. He's like, I don't give a shit about this, so why should you? Man,
mm,
fair enough. Cool. You
yeah.
do you, love. It's all good. Fair play, Nick. Anyway, we should probably talk about the game, shouldn't we? We've been talking for 6 minutes about random trivia questions.
Mm.
Although I do think we should insert a little trivia section into the show every week. Um, but having said that, Chelsea versus Liverpool. Normally, I'd be quite excited for this, and especially off the back of a win. But I was saying it on the final score show, and I stand by it because I still feel like it. I felt a bit flat after that Benfica game. I don't know. It just feels a bit naff at the minute being a Chelsea fan. I don't know. Talk to me. How are you feeling?
Yeah, the game. I was just sort of sat there and thinking this just feels like a football match. And I know that sounds really stupid. It's just like I was just like, there's just nothing happening in this game, and I'm just not really feeling much. And it was just one that sort of just passed by. And I guess because of the chaos that has ensued and us sort of imploding, I guess that's not a bad thing to have a game that just passes by and we win it 1-0. I mean, like that'd be better than, how we've performed in recent games. But I guess the one concern is that the game didn't really do much to kind of symbol like us clicking into gear.
No. Yeah.
The way I felt all season so far is just the word that just I keep on going back to is just unconvincing. But I do think there would have been a bit of Jose that appreciated a Chelsea 1-0, not playing that well, keeping a clean sheet, and just moving on.
Yeah.
Um, but how much does it lead into that? I don't really know. And from an attacking point of view, it was some of the performances, especially from the subs bench, were quite concerning. So
Abysmal. Yeah.
So
I
yeah, I
think
mean,
for
it was just a
me.
game, wasn't it? Like it was just a game. Like it
Yeah.
was just that's what it's just a game I watched. I think I watched.
For me, it just. I mean, I think the one thing I thought was that grinding out a 1-0 win. Yeah. Right. If you take out the Club World Cup, which I know is a big thing, but hear me out. You take out the Club World Cup and the Conference League, which realistic, and you look strictly at league form. Chelsea have been grinding out wins and struggling through games since January.
Yeah, I mean, in a
Maybe
league
even just before.
context, when have we battered the last time we like battered like convincingly like battered someone in the league?
Probably Wolves, beginning of last season.
No, that Brighton at home. I thought the Aston Villa game
Yes, sorry,
we
right, yeah,
the
yeah,
Aston Villa game. But yeah, no, it has been a lot. It was a lot of like 1-0s, wasn't it, at the end of the season?
yeah. It was like what September. Well, that Brighton game was September last year.
Hmm.
That
Pretty
was
much the same
September
weekend as
twenty
this
twenty
year.
four. Yeah. So that says a lot about the quality of Chelsea's football. And I also think my dad raised it. And look, he's a man who's watched a lot of football. He's been a season ticket holder at Chelsea for 50 years. And he's a decent football coach as well, right? and he was saying to me that you can't. There isn't really a shape. There isn't really a style. It's just very. It's just there the way that Chelsea play. I mean, I think that the problem is, like we were saying the other week. I think football's become so technocratic, so fixated on the minutiae of detail that isn't necessarily important, rather than just having the basics done. Like I think that the way that I look at it, you look at we mentioned Mourinho and the 1-0 wins, right? Mourinho had a 1-0 win in him, but it would still be convincing. You'd still see a dominant display. I don't think Chelsea have really ever been that dominant a lot of the time under Maresca. And I think the easiest way to explain is like when you explain football to a layman, right? We are laymen. I know we're probably the higher end of a layman, but we are laymen at the end of the day, right? You'd want to be able to explain your team's shape and say, well, how does your team play? What's the plan? I don't think you can say that for Chelsea
I,
because
I, I slightly disagree. I think we kind of know generally how Chelsea try and build up. Um, it is a short passing game. It is one that shapeshifts from sort of a free in defence, usually in possession. Um, that then maybe pushes up. It's kind of lopsided where the left back will move into a back three, which means that the right back either moves into an inverted central midfield role to add an extra body to create superiority in central areas. That then you hope has a knock on effect of opening up space for your wide players, like really wide players, touchline hugging wingers. You know, I think the perfect sort of Maresca move is one that starts deep, attracts a press, baits the press, works around the press, moves into central midfield, goes out wide, and then you hopefully are able to open up space inside the box for a high quality chance. It's a short
can you write
passing
that on the
game.
back of the Matt? That's what I'm
No,
trying to
you
say.
can't.
Can you
No, you
write
can't.
that
But
on
I mean, but I think that this is a general thing in football, isn't it? I was actually standing next to someone who was evoking sort of this same frustration during the Brighton game. Um, that football has become like this, right? And it's so generalized that you know you watch a lot of football that it kind of feels it all blends sort of into one. You know, where
yeah.
you feel like you're watching the same game over and over again, or at
Mm.
least in certain teams, right? But it's not that I have no I think to try and I wouldn't argue I have no idea what Chelsea are trying to do on the pitch. I think that's really harsh on what we've seen in recent months. I think that for a variety of reasons we're just imploding in certain moments, or players aren't performing up to the highest level, or our recruitment policy has not been sufficient enough to upgrade the team, like to basically keep in line with the expectation level as it's gone up. So I think those things are relevant. But then, you know, you people talk about style so much, but in a game like this, like if Chelsea beat Liverpool, no matter what way they do it, it will be seen as a massive win, and no one's going to turn around and, you know, when you win a big game, no one's going to walk away from Liverpool if we beat them 1-0 and they've had like 80% possession and we've taken our one chance on the break. If the same game against Benfica plays out against Liverpool, none of us are turning around after and going, well, that was a crap game of football, wasn't it? Because the emotion and kind of the intensity of a game at home to Benfica will never, unless it's like a massive game, in like, unless that's a Champions League semi-final or Europa League final in 2013, a game against Liverpool at home is almost always going to have a level of stake and intensity and emotional investment that a lot of other games aren't. So style sometimes, like, it's obvious, but I always prefer substance in a football team. Style style leads to substance sometimes, and I think a lot of people in you know analytically will say that it does, but the substance in a team is their own product. Like what is the style leading to? Is it leading to a coherent, efficient football team, or is it leading to a team that is kind of self defeating and not really producing that? Like whether you're aim as a head coach is to play really intricate, slow passing football, or you're a counter-attacking coach, or you're someone that really is looking to exploit threats out wide, or really exploit set pieces. The end goal has to be the same. Like that the for me, a football style is successful if it's impactful. I don't really care what it is.
But then I feel that answers the question then, because I don't feel the way that we're playing is impactful. It's so different to the way we were playing at the Club World Cup. If you look at the Club World Cup, me and you said throughout the tournament, he was changing things. There was a sense of directness. The teams were, you know, kind of going for the jugular. They had a point to prove. Like there was something about the Chelsea team at the Club World Cup where there wasn't this lethargic, slow passing that we'd seen the season previous, and we've seen. I think now that the season's come back into fruition. I look at it. It's like even the Fulham game. The Fulham game when Tyreek George scored the goal. I was saying that I get what you're saying about it's Liverpool. Um, you're going to have an overwhelming sense of emotion because I did have that last season. They'd won the league. They didn't care. I was looking at that going brilliant. Right, we beat Liverpool. Fantastic. Right, but there is also a part of me that looks at it and goes, do you know what? It still wasn't great. There's still an element of me that looks at it and goes, there's something that could have been done differently. I feel like there's a situation which um, is brewing at Chelsea where it's just not quite clicking. There's something not quite working. And even that Benfica game, you think that there's a team where you're going right. Realistically, Chelsea should be able to go for the jugular here. But when we get to the final third, I feel like we're in a position where we overcomplicate. But I feel it's not just us. I feel it's just throughout football. I really do. I just think that the elite level of football is so overcomplicated now, and there's such a risk where there are people consistently going, "We don't want to do that because this pass is 55% more likely to fail." And it always brings me back to the advert. I mean, you always make a joke about from the 2014 World Cup, the animated one. Risk everything, take risks. People, there's no risks anymore,
Mm.
and I think Jack Grealish is like a shining example of that. Aston Villa, this exciting player, this person who I think people enjoyed watching Villa just for Jack Grealish, just the way he moved, just the way he held himself. But he goes to City. I get that he's not the main man there, but it becomes drone in a very oversimplificated or overzealous, sorry, not oversimplificated. Oversimplificated is what I'd like, but in like an overzealous controlling system where players don't have the opportunity to showcase their skills as much. I feel, and then you can even see now, right? When everyone's saying we want to play like City, Pep is slowly going. I don't want to play like that anymore. I've got Erling Haaland. We'll route one it. We'll play it down the wings. We'll go down the channels. We'll be direct. We'll be aggressive. But it's a case of every other team is like, no, we want to tap it about. We want to do this. We want to be amazing. We'll have this continental style of football. It's like, no. Like you look at the players that Chelsea have got right now. This team is built to play in transition. Categorically, is built to play in transition. Yet we're forcing this process of tapping it about, and people are getting tired of it. Like at the Benfica game, there was one or two passes where we'd be in the opposition third, the ball would come back to Cucurella, and we go all the way back to Sanchez, and then they press up the pitch, and then we'd have the ball again, and people would tell you that we're dominating games by holding on to possession. Chelsea just have not been they've not dominated games. They've not been a side which are going to take the game to people. They don't feel cutthroat, and I appreciate Chelsea are in an injury situation, a massive injury crisis. I get that, And that then comes back to the sporting directors and all the stuff that you and I were talking about over the summer, especially on deadline day when do you get rid of Nicholas Jackson? Do you sell Noddy Madueke? The answer to both those at the time, we're both like, we're not too sure about this, but have we replaced it? We don't know. Garnacho looked good, I will say that. He looked very good against Benfica. I like the way he played. He had a hunger about him. Gittins just looks lost. We paid £50 million to go back to the Noni Madueke we signed for PSV. Yeah, this thing for me, it's like there's I question the logic of Maresca here. I do think that Mourinho made a very good point of you need to win trophies to set the benchmark. Maresca wants to set the benchmark, and then obviously where I question his tactics, it then goes back to the sporting directors and I question their tactics. Then it goes back to the ownership and questions whether they actually want to win things,
Mm.
or if they're just in this to build this portfolio of players and 8-year contracts where they can flip for more money. I'm I was bored. I don't get bored watching Chelsea, really. But I was bored on Wednesday, and then see that's like parts of last season where I was bored, and it just I find it really draining, and I think a lot of people do.
I understand the frustration. I really do. But my honest take at the moment is I think there is a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that have kind of broken down all at once. And I think this game in particular, moving on to like our team selection about it, is like I think there's a great opportunity here to kind of kickstart the season. And um, it's interesting looking specifically at Liverpool, right, where they've also obviously just won the Premier League title. But if you look at their performances this season and their I think expected points is like is in terms of how they've overperformed their expected points this year has been quite severe. And over the past two games, there's maybe an
Mm,
argument that their performance level and their lack of late goals, continuing is starting to catch up with them. Um,
mm,
I think we've got I think you can be frustrated about some of the performances. And again, I think we say this every episode, but I think it's a fair point to bring up is like, is this the collateral damage and fatigue of the Club World Cup that is impacting Chelsea at the moment? That you wouldn't usually see at this time of the year. But also, I sort of do look at this game as, we've just got to get through it without disaster, really. And
mm.
maybe there's an opportunity to strike at Liverpool when they aren't at their most secure, and there still are major question marks over their level of performance and structure at the moment. And listen, I think that if Chelsea win on Saturday, and I'll say it again, I think if Chelsea win in any manner on Saturday, the mood radically changes at Stamford Bridge. It just does. Like we know this. We know that if you win a big game, if you beat a team like Liverpool, it provides so much optimism and so much hope. And I do disagree with you that I think the way we beat Liverpool was brilliant in May, absolutely brilliant. The way we counted on them, I think
Yeah, yeah.
we were the better team on the day, and I don't expect Chelsea to blitz teams like that. I think that type of performance is probably the best you're going to get against the best you could hope against a team like that. We absolutely battered PSG in one half of football, one of the
Mm,
greatest halves of football I've seen from any Chelsea team in my life. Um, and we absolutely battered, West Ham. So it's not like there have been no examples of joy watching the Chelsea team, but there absolutely is a question mark over our ability this season to go to a higher level, which I think was always the big question mark. If it goes wrong on Saturday, it obviously then we'll let that mood linger a lot more over the international
mm.
break, and it puts huge pressure when we do return against Nottingham Forest. Right, it puts a lot of pressure for the team to start. We just have to start putting points on the board quickly because you
Yeah.
don't want the season to drift. So I understand the frustration, and I think there are concerns at the moment. I maintain I think Chelsea have been highly unconvincing this season so far. I don't really understand a counter argument to that because I think people are just ignoring what's going on the pitch if they don't think Chelsea have been if Chelsea if they think Chelsea have been convincing this season. I just completely disagree. But a win on Saturday can, as we know in football, it's fickle, right? It can change everything. And if Chelsea win on Saturday, then it's Chelsea have been able to get through a very difficult period. They've risen to adversity well. They've battled through criticism and some difficult days. And if you're one of those people that just dismissed recent defeats as just like freakish events of us getting sent off, I think that will give you more sort of like weight in that argument.
Hmm. No, I get that. I get that. It's just a bit like, I don't know. I think it's the winter blues kicking in at the same time as Chelsea being crap. Maybe, who knows? But I get what you're saying. I do think like that Liverpool performance, if anything, was a benchmark for how Chelsea should play last season. That like, I get, and the PSG game was the same. We let the pressure come onto us and we hit in transition. That is when Chelsea are at their strongest. So I don't understand why it's not being used more. And I'd like to think that maybe it'd be an opportunity to target Liverpool, considering how lopsided they are currently as well. Um, it's a tough one. But hey, that's just me. I'm just a miserable bastard. So we'll have to leave it at that. Looking forward to Liverpool. Obviously, I've actually found that down. I've just got a text off of our friends at the Anfield Wrap, and I've obviously we're speaking to our friends at the Redmen later. So we'll be hopefully chatting to them, finding out a little bit more about the mess that's going on at Liverpool currently, because that's how they've worded it to me. They said they're in a bit of trouble. But like you're saying, do you think this Liverpool team's there to be got at? Do you see a side, like you said, which past couple of games, they lost to Galatasaray, they lost to Crystal Palace, they look a little bit lopsided. There's not quite enough ticking over in that Liverpool side. Do you see a team there which, with the tools that Chelsea currently have, they can get at, or do you think Maresca is going to be very Italian in his football thinking and be damage limitation? Let's not go down to 10 men.
I think that will be his instinct. I think if you well, I'll ask this to you. I think most of us would accept a draw right now. If I said to
Yeah.
you a draw on Saturday, I don't think anyone's going to turn around and seriously try and tell me that they'd be outraged by that. But there absolutely is something about this Liverpool team at the moment that is not quite right. And I
Mm,
think it is the lopsided nature of their recruitment. Like they have spent a lot on attacking players. Like they've really heavily invested on some attackers who I think are talented, but maybe without the consideration and at the expense of the balance that was so clearly there for Slot last year. Um,
mm,
it's not just about Isaac Ekatike, who's been a brilliant signing for them, Florian Wirtz. It's not just about the actual attackers; it's also about the fullbacks. Milos Kerkez is a very attack-minded fullback. Jeremy Frimpong, who I think is injured at the moment, is also an attack-minded fullback. Like there's a sense that, and that in itself has created more strain and stress on the defense. So Kanate and Van Dijk are probably having to get through more work than they did last year already, and they're not really controlling games at all. Like, it'd be interesting when you have those conversations with Liverpool fans. I wouldn't be surprised if they could also maybe use the word unconvincing to describe Liverpool this season. The difference between Liverpool and Chelsea this year is that they've been able to find late winners and find ways to win games when
mm,
Chelsea have not. And I think that there's probably something in that, and their recruitment has prioritized the here and now. Like that's the truth of it. You're not signing Ekatike and Alexander Isak for 5 years down the line. You're signing them to maintain your power and place at the top of the Premier League. Um, so that gives them, the points that they have currently, and obviously with a player like Mo Salah, and the way they were able to get through some difficult moments has kind of shown that there is a very strong mentality there. However, game state wise, I think it maybe suits Chelsea a bit more, um, because it allows us to hit them on the counter. It allows us to maybe find gaps in that lopsided nature of their team and really try and exploit them in what has been a challenging week for them. And if
Mm,
their performance levels don't increase, I think they will be on the end of probably some more poor results because you can't keep like playing in the way they have been and just rely on late winners over and over and over again. Eventually, even if you can win a few games, eventually it does catch up with you, and it has caught up with them in the last two games.
mm. Yeah, I'm hoping that's where Chelsea can seize the advantage. Like I said earlier about Garnacho, you talk about the fact that Frimpong's injured. They're putting Szoboszlai in at right back, and he's inverting, which means that there'll be space there for. I was thoroughly impressed by him. I'm still very much jury's still out, right? But that game against Benfica, I saw a player there which was getting to the byline, was taking on his man, was really trying to cause problems, and that is an area where Liverpool can be got at. And that obviously means that the likes of the balance of that team. I look at our midfield, I look at their midfield. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Genuinely, if you think about the quality, if you've got a fully fit midfield for Chelsea, even with the three that are available, if Andre's available, which I'm hoping he is, Santos, Enzo, Caicedo, that's McAllister, Gravenberch, and I mean they're rotated, don't they? It'd be Florian Wirtz probably. But no, he's injured. Who's it going to be if Florian Wirtz is injured?
I thought Verts was. I know Allison's injured. I didn't know that Verts is injured as well.
Well, I thought I read he was injured. That might be me being a numpty, but
But yeah, I
but
think that
no.
like Gravenberch, Soboslai. I think their last game they had Bradley at right back, so Soboslai went into his natural midfield position. So they may just stick with that. But I actually, I think Soboslai didn't do that bad when he played at right back. So Slot may stick with that as well. But yeah, it's. I think Chelsea have got to be looking at the pace that they can use as a tool to really get at Liverpool and try and pry on the weaknesses that have been exploited so far this year. So
Mm,
I feel there's absolutely an opportunity with this kind of game and this kind of tactical approach that could absolutely work in Chelsea's favour, as it did the last time we played Liverpool.
yeah, I'm all hoping that's the case. We'll have to see. But I mean, it is Liverpool. You're always up for this game. For me, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs. I think those are three for me. City, I get kind of excited for, but I think those three for me are the exciting ones. Brighton's been very much added to the list because I just hate them. But it's very much a case of those three. I think for most Chelsea fans are the ones which you enjoy the most, um, or will look forward to the most. So we'll have to see. But speaking of looking forward, Dan, it's that time. It's Echo 11 time. So let's get into it straight off the bat. It's going to be slightly more interesting, obviously, because we're not recording it uh, as the press conference is going on or after, we're recording it before. So we've got to figure out what our team's going to be with the limited options that we have. So, with that being said, goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez, given, is the case. Yeah. Left back, Cucurella, best left back in the world, not an argument. He goes straight in. Right back, Reece James, best right back in the world, no conversation, goes straight in. Centre back, Dan, what are we doing?
Well, firstly, I have a feeling that Maresca is going to do what he did against PSG and Bayern for this game,
Uh,
um, which means that Reece James moves into central midfield.
what as in he's going to on the team sheet he'll be in central midfield?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of conflicted because of the lack of options defensively. I could see a scenario where Reece actually plays more as a right centre back in this game,
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
and then actually you're pushing Cucurella further forward rather than Gusto. So you got to
Mm-hmm.
think of it in that way because I just can't see Maresca playing two left-footed centre backs along with Cucurella because coaches just don't really like doing it. We tried it very briefly last season with Badiashile and Colwell, and it didn't work. I think we tried it for a half against Spurs, and it doesn't work. Um, I think Badiashile will start after the other night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm conflicted over who the other centre back would be, whether to
It's
go with
really
Josh Achimpong, who's kind of more naturally right footed, or Jarell Hatto. I think Hatto didn't do that badly against Brighton, actually, if you think about it, the way the game
yeah.
turned out. Um, I think
But what you said about Paddy Shields,
it would be a massive call to give Josh this start. But I'd prefer. I mean, does you know? Because the pro you some people may go, oh, just play Reese as a centre back. But then if you play Reese as a centre back, like just purely as a centre back, whether in and out of position he's in a free or not, then Gusto has to play at right back most likely. And watching Gusto at the moment just as a right back is just a little bit scary to be honest. So it's his form has tailed off again. It's quite confusing. I think my instinct is he's going to just repeat what he did against PSG and Bayern because he's kind of forced into it due to injuries and also because arguably it has shown to work when you factor that the Bayern game was let down by individual errors rather than it was a structural tactical thing where we just were not
yeah,
getting anything. And I think Maresca could be accused in the Bayern game as well in that second half of not making changes quickly enough. Um, so I think that it will be. I think it'll be Josh Achimpong and Badiashile was kind of your centre backs.
yeah. Fuck. Oh God.
But then
Okay.
the alternative is Jarell Hatto, Josh Achimpong, Benoit Badiashile, Jarell Hatto, because Trev's not available, Fafana's not available, Tosin's not available. Who else do you put in there other
I
than
mean, I'd go Hatto and Achimbom. But Badiashile looks good in the Champions League and in Europe because he had that extra second on the ball. He'll be a good centre back in Europe. He's just not good for the Premier League.
hmm,
I just don't think he's got it. So I'd go Hatto and Achimpong if it was me. Yeah, Reece then become that inverted right back, inverted centre back, inverted right back. Basically sits as centre back. Cucurella goes forward. In my head, I've then got Caicedo, Enzo. I mean, Andres Santos should. Is he? No, he's not available for
no,
Liverpool, is he?
no, no, not available. So it's basically Caicedo and Enzo. Which is why I thought that maybe he might play Gusto as a wing back on the right side and move Reese into central midfield with Moises Caicedo and push Enzo Fernandez up.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Should we go with that then? This is the most thought provoking Echo 11 I think we've ever done.
Yeah, but
It's
the
hard
problem
work.
is like the problem starts with the centre backs because who do you trust, right? Josh Achipome is kind of a baptism of fire against this Liverpool attack, but
Mm,
Benoit Badiashile, as you mentioned, I actually thought Benoit Badiashile was all right the other night, and we kept a clean sheet. And
yeah,
given our defense has not been keeping clean sheets, I just think it'd be a little bit harsh to completely drop him after that game. The question is who goes with Benoit Badiashile. And for me, once you've played Badiashile, one of your left centre backs or one of your players left sided, I think then you have to go Josh Hutchinson. You need someone who's more comfortable on the right. I think two left footers
yeah,
just doesn't happen.
yeah. I agree. But I just don't like Paddy Shield. I just don't think I think it's a problem. I really think it's a problem. Rock,
So
paper, scissors.
so as
I'll be Hatto. You go Shield. Rock, paper, scissors. Right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I can't
I
even see your hand. What are you doing?
I'll go this
Okay, go
way.
again. Oh yeah,
This is
yeah.
not great radio as well. Like people can't they can hear our fists going. They don't know what the hell's going on.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay, right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh my god! Stop doing the same thing as me. Right, one more.
Oh,
Rock,
wait, I'll make sure I'm
paper.
in camera. Hang on. I'll make sure I'm in camera so you can see what I'm actually doing.
Okay.
Okay, three, two,
Rock,
one.
paper, scissors, shoot. Right, you're being a dick now. Why? Why?
I'm
Why do you
not.
keep doing this?
I'm not.
We've done 4 times in a row. We've done no 5 times. Right, one more. Right, we've got this. This is the way it
This is
works.
riveting radio. This really is.
This is what it works. Okay, ready? Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
There we go.
You got
You win.
Finally, I win. Right, well, I'll Joe Hatto then.
Two.
Right,
What is
I've
it?
got
Terrell
scissors, pen,
Hatto and
paper.
Josh Achimpong. Did you say? So that okay.
Joe Hatto, Josh Achimpong. I agree with you in terms of what's going to happen with Gusto. So the back four, you got Sanchez, Cucurella, Hatto, Achimpong, Gusto, Reese, Caicedo, Enzo. I'd start Garnacho. I'd start Neto. It's just a question of who plays up front.
You're not going to start Esteval at all.
I just think the way that Pedro Neto was so. Well, hang on. Hang on. Esteval. Why are you moving Reese? Why did you put Esteval on the 10?
Well, over it. No, because
You drop your Enzo Caicedo double pivot. You put Esteval on the 10. You put Reese at right back. Key inverts make it a back three. Cucurella goes forward. You have the box midfield.
yeah.
You have Cucurella, Caicedo, Enzo, Esteval, Garnacho on the left wing, Pedro Neto on the right wing, and whoever the fuck is going to go down the middle.
Yeah, João Pedro.
Yeah. All right.
Who else is it going to be? Who else? It's a bit like the goalkeeper situation. Who else is it going to be? I would have. I think Neto is guaranteed to start this game. I'd be
He's so
absolutely.
good.
I'd be stunned if Neto doesn't start this game. He's going to start this game, and I think he probably starts it in kind of a wing back role. I actually think Neto starts on the left, and Esteban starts on the right,
Yeah.
and then you
Right.
have João
You gave
Pedro
me
in the
Hatto.
centre.
All right. You gave me Hatto. I'll give you that one then. So we'll go your midfield, Esteval on the right, Neto on the left, João Pedro down the middle. So your Echo 11 for Chelsea versus Liverpool, 5:30 on Saturday. Sanchez in goal. You've then got Gusto. You've then got Achimpong, Hatto, Cucurella as your back four. Your midfield three, Reece James, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez. Left hand side, Pedro Neto. Right hand side, Esteban Willian, Joao Pedro through the middle, who hopefully will not get sent off again. But that has been the Chelsea Echo. That was your Echo 11. I'm not going to do a score prediction because me and Dan are both depressed watching Chelsea at the minute. But make sure you tune in to Final Score with the score after the game because he will be doing a live show as usual. So make sure you go and get involved with that. But that is it. Make sure you drop a sub down below if you're watching YouTube. If you're listening on all good audio platforms, give us a 5-star review. It really, really does help the pod out. But I have been Louis.
I've been Dan.
And this has been the Chelsea Echo. We'll see you later.